Well, Manso, Clay Ferraro here on Local10.com, our Local 10 web extra after the Miami Dolphins lost to New England, dropping them 0-2. And Clay, I'll start with the 0-2 part. I don't think anybody's surprised the Dolphins are 0-2 given the schedule as it was set up at Seattle, at New England. Are you surprised, though, at how it happened? We already talked about Seattle, but how this happened on Sunday where the Dolphins were behind 31-3. They made this great comeback, but the bottom line is they still lost.
Maybe I was surprised by the magnitude, how far they fell behind in this game, because let's be completely honest here. The reason why they came back was because Jacoby Brissett came into the game. And
it changed everything.
If Jimmy Garoppolo had stayed out there, this was going to be a blowout the entire way. Maybe I was surprised by how far they fell behind, but look, in this game against the Patriots, we saw the same issues that we were concerned about in training camp. They went and they signed a big corner in Byron Maxwell. They drafted another in Xavier Howard. The concern there was what happens when you go up against smaller, quicker receivers.
Which
Julian
Patriots
Edelman,
have, obviously, Danny Amendola.
Yeah. Burned them. Burned them all game long. Linebackers a big concern, and when they were forced into coverage, they were burned by the smaller receivers when they had to come up and try to tackle LeGarrette Blount. It was a real problem. So, frankly, no, I'm not surprised at all because I think the holes that we thought they had, they had.
What's frustrating is they have these holes which we knew. I mean, we all knew it. That's not just you and I knew. I think any Dolphin fan that watches this team knows that they had some massive holes. And Adam Gase is not going to fix it. The front office is not going to fix this in one offseason. This team was a mess going in. They tried to clear some things. The frustrating part for me is Arian Foster goes down with an injury. J.H.I. is not, I don't know if is there something bigger than the doghouse, the Barbie dream house? I don't know. Whatever J.H.I. is shipped in, he's in it now. The Dolphins went into the season thinking that Arian Foster could be their workhorse back. And what made Mike Tannenbaum and crew and Chris Greer and those guys believe that, I have no idea.
Right.
No idea, because you're 3 games in the season now, or entering game 3, and you don't have a running back right now. No. You just don't. You got everything on the shoulders of Ryan Tannehill. You have a defense that tries to do its best with a D-line that's talented, but not much else. I just don't know where this team has a positive, where you say to yourself, okay, that is where this team is going to improve the rest of the year.
I hate it when people say, I told you so I'm going to try to dance around this.
You told us so. We all told us so. It's not like we're breaking news here, Clay. That's the frustrating part.
And I think that's why I'm trying to phrase this a different way, but there were 4 key issues that I think everyone was concerned about heading into the season. It was the cornerbacks, which we just discussed, the linebackers, which we just discussed, the running back situation, which you just mentioned, and also the offensive line and its inability to run block, because basically you have no career guards out there other than Anthony Steen, who's playing center in place of your all-pro center.
Who will hopefully be back at some point, and he stabilizes it a bit, obviously.
All the problems we thought they had, they're showing. And so I think maybe that's the most frustrating thing if you're a Dolphins fan, is you're sitting there saying, well, wait a minute, if I can see this, why couldn't the front office see
Well,
this?
I wonder what the front office is thinking this offseason, meaning going into the season. Maybe they just thought there's so many holes to fill. Let's just try to build through the draft, get some good players. But there's no way you can go in. We both said the Dolphins were, what, a 7-win team, 8-win team, 6-win team, somewhere, which is what they've been the last decade. There's no reason to believe otherwise. There are a lot of holes to fill that won't get filled in one offseason. But just 2 weeks in, as a Dolphin fan, you sit there and you say to yourself, what do the next 14 games bring? Let's just say, what does the next game bring?
They'll beat Cleveland. I'll go on record with that. They're going to beat Cleveland. I think after that,
they're like on their 3rd-string quarterback. Yeah. And look, we're going a little over what we wanted to do, but I think it's worth it for Ryan Tannehill. Ryan Tannehill, a lot of this has to be on him as well. Ryan Tannehill is, I think, a good quarterback. Ryan Tannehill is not a great quarterback, and as a first-round pick and a top 10 pick and whatever, all the things that came with Ryan Tannehill, I think we're starting to learn now that he's not that player. If you put pieces around them, sure, but he's not. And Sunday's a perfect example. He was bad early, as was the whole team. And then he went on this crazy roll. But in the NFL, you can't be down 31-3 before you start playing football. And that's, how many times have we seen Ryan Tannehill do that in his career? And then you look at the overall numbers and you say, well, that was a pretty darn good game. But then you look at the game and you say, well, they lost. And he didn't really do much early. So it's frustrating. Now you start to wonder, is Ryan Tannehill the guy for the future? That's a bigger question 14 games from now.
Yes. And maybe
that's a legitimate question.
Maybe that's the most important thing they figure out over these next 14 games is the answer to that question.
Cleveland's next. As Clay mentioned, they're going to win. So they'll be 1-2, and we'll be discussing that next week. That's it here on Local10.com.